Now, this is a story of Camille, who is a journalist in Chicago. She works for this newspaper that is not doing great. I mean, she's not a very popular writer. Actually, just got out of a psych unit at the time that we're starting the book, and she talks to her boss. The boss looks like the description of him made him look like a old guy that smells bad but means well. That's all I can say about this man. I think his name is Curry. And so he tells her, there's this series of disappearance, little girls that are disappearing from this town where you were born. So I want you to go there to your hometown and investigate them. Bring me a good story. There are no other journalists that are covering that case over there. So she goes there and she has to confront, her mother, who is a really not so nice rich lady who seems very nice to the rest of the world, but not to her family and people that really know her. She ends up staying with her mom and her stepsister, who lives there. I think she's 13. And the sister is kind of a creepy child thing because she acts very infantile at home, but then she goes out and she's wearing mini skirts and she's showing her panties, and she's like two different kind of people. And that's where the story begins. There was this girl that was found that was I think the year prior, and I think she was also 13 or 14 years old. She was murdered and they took all her teeth. It's kind of interesting, at the same time disturbing. Then recently another girl went missing, and while she is there in the town, they find the body, same thing. So there is a serial killer on the loose in this small town, and in the beginning they thought it was probably somebody passing by, but now they think it's somebody that lives in the town. Now, that is the premise, and I think it's very interesting. My only problem with this book, and why I ended up giving it a 2-star, is because more of my personal liking on a book. I felt like this book was so dark from the beginning. There's a lot of self-harm constantly being mentioned. There's the skin pulsing for her to do something to herself. There's a lot of alcohol, there's a lot of drugs talk. And I understand that she's trying to portray, the twist at the end. It's all related to, of course, mental illness, but I thought that it was so over sexualized that I felt dirty reading this book. And not only that, but in Camille's mind, and again, in the end it ties down to something, but in Camille's mind, a woman is not being abused. Even if she doesn't want to do it, she says yes because she wants to be in power. And I felt like a lot of those things could be written by an unaware man, and I mean no judgment with this, but I don't know how a woman can write a character that way. The way she believed girls to be and want from guys. There's a description where she gets into this hunting shed and what she sees and what she does with that. It's so over sexualized that I felt yucky. These characters were all minors, and despite if they were having any kind of interaction with an adult or with other kids, I felt like that is a theme that I don't want to read about. Like, I understand if that's something that you like, if you think it's entertaining, and I'm not judging people for liking this book. I understand that most people love this book, and I am on the unpopular side of things. But I'm just sharing with you why this book didn't work for me. I just can't enjoy a book that is over sexualizing little girls, and especially little girls. I mean, guys a little bit, but it was almost like women can be used, girls should be doing this in order to be ahead of their game. The need of being with different guys to be superior to other girls, and all that kind of bullying that's happening in these places that I like to think it's not a common thing today everywhere. You know, does this happen? Unfortunately, I'm sure it's happening somewhere, but I don't like to fill my mind with this kind of dark thoughts that all these kids are talking about is sexualized and is abusive and is you know, I understand that this could be a concept that could be used on adults and, you know, appeal to a certain section of people on the internet. But when you are using it on kids, that's where I particularly draw the line. I just can't take it. I feel dirty. I felt like in the beginning, I was like, well, I just need to read this through, and I'm sure we're going somewhere with this. I'm sure we're going somewhere. But then everything is so over sexualized that then any movement, any scene where she's doing something, or she's with her sister, or she's with this man, it's almost like, okay, is she touching that, or is she like, you know, it's putting all this darkness in my brain that I don't need there. And I don't need to have a darker view on the world today after reading the book. It was so dark and not fun to read, and I feel like that's not what I want to do with my reading. So despite being a very popular book for many people that really enjoy her writing, I just didn't care for the themes, and I felt like women were portrayed in a way that I don't share, and that girls are also portrayed in a way that I don't believe every single girl in middle school is behaving like that. It was just not a good book. It was very depressing, very sad, and very hopeless. I think in the end it made me feel like hopeless, and that's not a place where I want to be. And because of that, I think I'm gonna give it a rest. I do have a couple more of her books that I'm not looking forward to reading for a little bit. I think I need to get on to something completely different. And listen, I read about serial killers, I read about all those things that, yeah, could be a dark thing, but they're just shared as a fun story, and maybe this is what it is for some people, a fun story. I just didn't have fun reading it. So those are my thoughts on Gillian Flynn's Sharp Objects. If you read it and you disagree, I'm good. You are more than welcome to share your opinions in the comments down below. And if you read it and you didn't like it, I'll also love to read your comment down below. Just let me know if you've read this book and what you thought of it, and we can all agree to disagree. So thanks again for watching this video, guys. I truly appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys.